Hey, what's up? I'm Daced and this is my next basics guide. In this guide we'll be mostly focusing on the Nex mechanics because that's really the first thing you need to learn when you're starting Nex. After you've mastered the mechanics, you should start focusing on your DPS. Okay, so for Nex I'd recommend having overload potions, a yak and tier 90 weapons. Tier 80 weapons would do in trios, but if you're up for duos, definitely take tier 90. So Drygos, Ascensions, Seismic or Noxious weapons. The best DPS gear at Nex would be Superior Lead Void. Tier 80 or 90 gear is acceptable, but full Void is clearly better DPS as it does have its accuracy bonus. You also need two different styles for Nex. Mage plus range is the easiest way to go in my opinion. Then, how to get there? You need a frozen key to get through this door in the Godwall's dungeon, which can be obtained by killing the minions from the 4 other factions in the Godwall's dungeon. Then, to get through the door to the next bank, you need ancient ceremonial gear, which can be bought from the GE. While running through the kill count room, a Zara's shard will protect you from being attacked by the minions. It's not mandatory, but it's nice to have with you so you won't get stunned. So, in your inventory, you should have 1 overload flask, 1 renewal flask, 2 adrenaline flasks, and 6 super restores. And for items in your inventory, you should have secondary weapons as Nex prays against range and mage and then melee on Zara's face. It's mage pray every other kill, so it goes like range, mage, and so on. But it does pray melee on every Zara's face at some point. Then Ring of Vigor for Zara's face, a shield for getting adrenaline in the beginning from the first minion, a Portent of Life to prevent you from getting KO'd, an enhanced Excalibur for additional healing, and of course runes for your spell if you're maging. Air Surge is good as it only takes 1 inventory space. Debuff runes help out quite a bit, but only use those if you have dual wield mage weapons. Okay, then let's move on with the actual kill. We tried to slow it down a bit so it'd be easier for you to see how the phases actually go. First off, take adrenaline from this first minion by first tagging it and then using defensive abilities, but do save anticipation for last to avoid getting dragged into middle. Smoke phase is quite simple. The only thing you want to look out for is the drag and when Nex does her own surge-like move. She'll shout "there is" when she's about to surge, so stay away from the bridges when that's about to happen, or else you'll take 4k damage. If she drags you just before that, just spam surge and you'll be fine. When Nex reaches 160k HP, the first minion becomes vulnerable and should be killed. After the minion dies and someone tags Nex, the next phase starts. So now shadow phase has started. During this phase, watch out for the shadow traps Nex leaves under players. Just move 1 or 2 paces and continue dealing damage. Also try to look out for traps left behind by other players. If you don't move away from the trap in time, you'll take approximately 4k damage. Always try to keep your health above 5k for this reason. Then the newbie's nightmare, the big scary blood phase. Even though if you are a newbie at Nex, it should be fairly easy in trios. So, Nex has 2 specials on this phase, Siphon and Sacrifice Attack. On Siphon, Nex heals from the Reavers she spawned in the room and from all the attacks she receives during the special, so keep away from her. In Sacrifice, she takes some life points from the player she has tagged and heals like 15k or something, if they don't make it far enough in time. The Sacrifice tagged player should use Escape if they're meleeing, but if they're already at a distance, they should just make sure they're at least 6 paces away from Nex. Moving on to the Ice phase. On this phase, Nex drains your prayer, so keep an eye out for your prayer points. There's also 2 specials on this phase, which are the Ice Prison and Contain. Always let the tank tag it Nex before the phase starts, so the tank will get the prison. You should agree beforehand whether you open the prisons or if the tank takes the damage with a barricade. Then, after the prison special, Nex will do the Contain special. During Contain, she spawns icicles around her, which will damage and stun. She'll also send 4 moving icicles, which will deal from 1 to 2k damage if they hit you. Alright, the last phase is the Zaros phase. On the Zaros phase, Nex pretty much uses something from every phase you've gone through so far. So, this starts drain from smoke, I guess just damage from shadow, soul split heal from blood, and occasional prayer drain from ice. She'll also hit twice as hard, so you want to keep your health quite high, unlike I did on this kill. There's also damage reduction, the Nex, so 2ks are quite common. She'll also use melee protection on Zaros, so do keep an eye out for that if you are meleeing. Also, walk away from the breath after Nexus dies to avoid taking any damage. Okay, thank you for watching. As you can see, I've just started making videos and I'll be making more PVM based guides in the close future. Shortly I'll probably do at least some Brago and Raxi guides and maybe about Nex tanking. So yeah, subs help a ton, and do leave your own suggestion for a video in the comments if you have any. Now go and have an awesome next trip. Peace.